Now, the topic today, when Maureen and I had a chat about what might be a good topic, I had to think, as I often do, about what is it that I hear from the women that I work with most often, and when does their stuff start coming up? That's a technical coaching term there, stuff. And your stuff may show up in lots of different ways. Mine shows up with that little voice that starts giving me the nim, 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 nim. Yeah? So I'm going to say the word, I'm just going to say it, money. And it shows up in a number of ways. So let me just kind of take you through a typical scenario. At the beginning of any coaching session or engagement, we start to talk about values. And I do that really simply. I ask a question. What is important to you about your business? And lots of stuff comes out. Within a heartbeat, I'll get 6 or 7 words. And usually it's things like making a difference, helping people, and so on and so forth. All very worthy, all wonderful things to be important in your life and in your business. And then I notice that there is one rather obvious gap. Making money. And you would be really surprised, or perhaps not, how many women, it's not even in their top 10. And that immediately leads to a very interesting discussion about, is this a business? I told you I was strict and I told you I was direct. Because often we start out to create our business with lots of passion, and that's wonderful. But that passion needs to deliver profit for it to be a business. I then have another conversation as we go on, and this is when more stuff comes up. We start to talk about pricing strategies and how much you're currently charging, how much ought you to be charging, and how much do you feel comfortable charging? Now, you may be noticing some things that are conversations that you have had. You may notice conversations you've had with other people. And the interesting thing is, people try to convince me that the reasons for not putting their price up are rational business decisions. I'm afraid they're not. Usually, they're emotional. And that's why today I want to talk to you about one of the reasons why you may not be charging your worth. And if you are, then that's fantastic. So it may just be useful to think about this in terms of your client's money story, because they'll have one too. And by understanding their money story, you may be able to meet their needs in a much more targeted way. So the money story, we all have them. Do we? Or is it just me? No, not just me, great. It's multi-layered, and it isn't something that stands in isolation. So what I mean by the money story is probably something that starts in the family group. And every family group will have ways of talking about money that may be based on the experience of the parents, the experience of the grandparents, the experience of the community that you grow up in. Now, my accent, just to put you out your misery, is Northern Ireland. And I have a very, very significant money story around. It's hard to get money. You have to work hard, you have to struggle. Nothing's worth having unless you struggle for it. Rubbish. But that was the story that I grew up with. So not unsurprisingly, if money came to me easily, that was something that didn't feel right. You know, I had to struggle before the money came along. So that was a bit of my money story. And what I want to do today, and because I've only got another 10 minutes, is just get you thinking about that money story. And I've got some handouts that we'll have a look at in a minute. Because the first stage in changing your money story is to understand what it is. And to understand, first and foremost, that your money story is usually made up of other people's experiences, which they have shared with you relentlessly and repeatedly as you've been growing up, what's been going on in the environment around you, and other little bits and pieces that you will have lumped into the pot just for good measure. So is it okay if I just take you through a couple of examples of that? One of the things that I have found, and this is a completely unscientific study, is that the decade that we turn 10, the attitudes around money in the media and in the environment at that time will be very influential. So if you grew up in a time of austerity, for you there may be a feeling that money is hard to get, it's scarce, you have to be very frugal, you have to be very thrifty, so you create this idea around money. If you've grown up in a different decade, it might be, oh, you know, what is it now? You only live once. Oh, put it on the credit card. We have a very different attitude, and we'll absorb aspects of that. But let me be really clear. Money is neutral. Money is a commodity. Money is neither good nor is it bad. It's what you decide to make it by the way you choose to perceive it. And that's driven by your individual money story. And it is your individual money story, because if your sister, your brother, someone else who grew up in the same family background may have developed their script in a slightly different way on the basis of the same information. Does that make sense? Good. It's always good when it makes sense. I'll step back in. So, money stories. Here are the kinds of things that people will tell me. And it's all a smoke screen, just so you're clear. Oh, I'm not good with money. I'm not good with money. Oh, and then I get a long story about money. And, oh, I'm not good with figures. Oh, I'm not good. What is actually going on is I don't really want to have a look at them because it might be scary if I did. Or it might be, actually, I don't really understand it, and that's scary to admit as well. But what does it actually mean, not good with money? Does it mean money's not good with you? And that leads me to the second one. I've noticed working with a group of entrepreneurs that there will be a boom or bust going on for them. They'll either be raking it in hand over fist, or there'll be nothing. Have you sort of come across people like that? And when I explored that, what I discovered was that their motivation for making money was to get away from being poor. And of course, once you get away from being poor far enough, you relax. It isn't half a great incentive to get you going, but it doesn't keep you going. Those individuals who made money and grew that money and kept that money were the individuals whose motivation to make the money in the first place was aspirational. Because money can be an enabler, and money can be transformational. And it can also be a burden. It can also cause overwhelm. And just remember, the money isn't any different. It's the perceptions of the individual and their attachment and their relationship to money. Let me check out another one here that I've got. Oh, this is the one that comes around a lot. Oh, no. I'm really spiritual. And so money, no, don't talk to me about money. No, because I'm all about healing and energy. Well, money's energy. And let me tell you a story. The Dalai Lama, everybody must have read stuff about the Dalai Lama. Incredible, inspirational. Do you think the Dalai Lama is a reasonably spiritual person? On a scale of 1 to amazing, he is a pretty spiritual person. Well, he had no problem taking 100 quid from me to go and see him at the Royal Albert Hall. No problem at all. So you're telling me you're more spiritual than the Dalai Lama because you don't make money? I don't think so. Money is very spiritual because you can use it to do amazing things. So again, it's a part of your money story that will drive that. So I'm going to ask my glamorous assistants on either side now to just pass some of these around for you as I kind of move on. I mentioned the money story and some of the kind of less empowering aspects of a money story. And no reading ahead, please. Thank you. Yes, I will put my glasses on and look at them, look at you over them. But what is an empowering money story? What is an empowering relationship? What does it feel like? Well, when I got rid of all of that stuff that I carried around in a potato sack for years, I discovered that actually I liked knowing the numbers. And it was lovely that what Debbie was saying about knowing your numbers. Numbers there, it's exciting. It's exciting to know where you are and to be up to date with what's happening with the money. Because the money enables me to be free, to be independent, and to really help people in a way that I couldn't if I didn't have the money. So what I've done on the handout for you is just put some little questions for you to reflect on and some things that we can perhaps do now to start you on that journey towards that more empowering money story. And for you, you might have gone through that journey, and that's great. And if you have, please pass this on to someone who isn't as far along as you are. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. On the back, on page 2, it says, your money story, your beliefs, relationship, and limitations you have developed around money. Complete the following. My mum, or my dad, always said rich people were. Was the word lucky, or was it another word? If you've grown up in an environment where it's not seen as that rich people can also be good people, why would you want to be one of those rich people? And here's the thing. Rationally, consciously, we go, well, that's just nonsense. That's not how we make our decisions. That's not how we choose whether or not to act and what to do. We start with the heart, and then we spend quite a long time coming up with the rational justification for what we've already decided emotionally. So if you're carrying some of that kind of overhang of family experiences, and they may not be experiences of this generation, they may be 1 generation, 2 generations, even more back, then it will be impacting on you. And it's useful to understand that and think about how you allow that to be, and then let it go. Respect it, honor it, and let it go. Don't make their experiences part of your identity and create your reality. Create your own. Create a different relationship to money. So the other one. If I won the lottery, I would fail. Yeah. Would they see you for dust? There are some people with this question will say overwhelmed, under pressure. Actually, getting a lot of money would not for them be a good thing. And I just want to explode a myth. Lottery winners are happy. Lottery winners have a good time. The lottery winners who lose their money, who have a bad time, were like that before they won the lottery. It is not the money that creates that experience for them. It is how they were and the relationships they were in before that. Right. What else? What's your earliest memory of money? This can be quite significant, particularly if you were in a family where money was used as a way of controlling. Because I was. That's why I share it. It was very much, money was held back. But when you were a good girl, money was released. Now, if that's how you see money, that can be quite difficult. You're constantly striving to be the good girl. And of course, the good girl is not you. It's somebody else's idea of who the good girl is. I'm really glad to say that I've managed to finally leave her behind most of the time. most of the time. She pops up from time to time. So what I'm suggesting is that you simply use this as a resource to gather some of those ideas and identify the aspects of your money story, that these echoes of things that other people have said, because they will be driving your inner dialogue around money. And how do you change it? Do you need to go on a program? Do you need to go? No. Just notice, understand, let go, and move on. If it's helpful, talk with other people. If it's not, just write it down and then let it go. It's as simple as that. So what might your money story be? And how might your business be if it were a different story? Because here's the thing I want to end with. You are the author of your money story. You are the editor of your money story. I'm inviting you today to bin the first draft and start the second and come up with the money story that's going to allow you to grow, have fun, and get those handbags and shoes. Thank you.